All right, so are you ready to dive into something crazy? Today we're looking into SS Rajamouli.
Oh, yeah, the Baahubali guy.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some pretty wild accusations against him right now.
Yeah.
From a guy claiming to be like a former friend of his.
Hmm.
And this is not just like a typical, little argument or something. This is like some serious stuff.
Yeah, this is like major drama unfolding.
Yeah, it involves like emotional distress, love triangles,
Yeah.
a ruined life.
I mean, it's the kind of stuff that you'd expect to see in one of his movies.
Right. It's like ripped from the headlines.
Exactly.
Right.
It makes you wonder, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
could this actually be true?
Yeah. So we're going to take a look at an article from the Times of India,
Okay.
and we're going to see what we can uncover.
All right, let's dig in.
So this guy, Uppalapati Srinivasa Rao, that's the name of the alleged former friend.
Right.
He's saying that, they had this long friendship with Rajamouli,
Okay.
and it all went sour because of a love triangle.
A love triangle. Huh? That's juicy.
I know. And he's even claiming that this love triangle is the reason why he's still single at 55.
Wow, that's a bold claim. And speaking of bold claims, we have to talk about the statement Rao gave to the police.
Yeah.
I mean, he's saying that he's been thinking about suicide and he's holding Rajamouli responsible for all of his suffering.
That's heavy stuff.
It is incredibly serious, and you'd think with accusations this heavy, there'd be some solid proof.
Right. You'd expect some receipts.
Exactly. But from what we're seeing in this Times of India article,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like he's actually providing any.
Okay, so that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Definitely.
And you know what else is interesting? Rajamouli himself hasn't said a word about any of this.
It's the silent treatment on a whole other level.
Right. The guy's a master storyteller on screen.
Exactly.
But in real life, total radio silence.
I mean, who knows what's going on behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
Could be a strategy, letting his legal team handle it all, laying low until things blow over.
Yeah, smart move, maybe.
Possibly. Maybe that silence is speaking volumes. We don't know, do we? And that's what we love to do here on The Other Opinion. Dive into those unanswered questions, those alternative perspectives that maybe you won't hear anywhere else.
Right. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Yes. Join the conversation.
We need your other opinions down in the comments. Let us know what you think about all of this.
Absolutely. And make sure you share this episode with your friends, too.
Yeah, get
Maybe.
people talking, get people thinking, because whether or not these allegations are true,
Right.
this whole situation really highlights how much power public perception has.
Especially these days with social media amplifying everything.
Oh, yeah. It's a whole different ballgame now.
It really is. And this isn't just some minor squabble.
No.
Rajamouli is a global icon. I mean, his films, Baahubali especially, blew up internationally.
Yeah, they were massive.
They were all about those epic battles, good versus evil.
Right?
And now he's facing these accusations that paint him
Oh.
in a not-so-heroic light.
Yeah, it's a pretty stark contrast.
It's almost like a plot twist you wouldn't see coming in one of his films.
Right.
It's unexpected, to say the least.
And it brings up a big question.
Yeah.
How should we, as fans, as people who see all this information, how should we approach situations like this?
Right. It's tough.
Do we just automatically condemn someone?
Yeah.
Or do we hold back judgment?
It's a slippery slope, isn't it?
It is.
Especially when someone's whole career, their reputation is potentially at stake.
Yeah, that's a lot to consider.
It is, and that's why I think it's so important to talk about it.
Absolutely.
It's a discussion worth having.
Definitely.
And it all comes down to critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just take everything at face value, right?
Right.
We need to look at the evidence, or in this case, the lack of it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Rao himself admits he doesn't have any proof of these past interactions with Rajamouli.
So that raises the question.
Yeah, what's his motivation here?
Exactly.
Is he really just seeking justice for what he feels were wrongs done to him? Or could there be something else going on?
Yeah, like what?
I don't know, maybe societal pressures.
Oh.
The whole allure of celebrity culture.
Yeah, that can be a powerful thing.
It can, and maybe there are even some personal grievances we're not aware of.
Right. It could be a whole mix of things.
It's a tangled web, for sure.
It is, and we need to carefully untangle it.
Absolutely.
And that's where those other opinions come in.
Exactly.
Right? Like we need to consider all sides of the story, every possible angle.
100%.
And that's what we're all about here.
Yeah.
The other opinion, don't just take our word for it. Go out there, do your own research,
Yeah.
and then come back here and let's have a real conversation about it in the comments.
Yes. Hit that like button and let those other opinions flow.
We want to hear what you think.
We do.
And yet, this situation also brings up another important point.
What's that?
the hashtag #MeToo movement and how it's playing out in India.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge conversation.
It's been a catalyst for change,
Yeah.
for sure. Empowering victims to come forward, holding perpetrators accountable.
Absolutely. It's been powerful.
But it's also created this climate where accusations, even without concrete evidence, can have a big impact.
Yeah, you're right.
And this case with Rajamouli's stature, it's right at the center of that whole dynamic.
It's a delicate balance, isn't it?
It is. It's like walking a tightrope.
Yeah.
On one hand, we want to believe victims
Of course.
and create a safe space for them to speak out.
Absolutely.
But on the other hand, we also need to uphold due process
Right.
and fairness for everyone involved.
It's not easy to find that balance. It's not. And I think this case is a perfect example of how difficult it can be.
I agree. And it's not just about Rajamouli himself either.
Right.
This whole situation shines a light on the film industry as a whole.
Yeah.
An industry that's often shrouded in secrecy and these complex power dynamics.
It makes you wonder what kind of impact this will have on aspiring filmmakers. Yeah, will they be more hesitant to speak up?
Maybe. And how will this affect the way we view celebrities?
Good question.
These are questions that go way beyond just this one case.
They do. It's about a bigger cultural shift that's happening.
Exactly. And that's why we need to keep talking about it. Keep those comments coming, folks. Tell us what you think. Share your other opinions. Let's keep this conversation going.
Yes, let's keep it going. And remember, at the end of the day, Rajamouli, despite these allegations, is still a human being.
It's important to remember that the human element in all of this.
Yeah, we're not just talking about abstract concepts here.
Well,
we're talking about people, their lives, their careers, their reputations.
it's a lot.
It is, and that's where empathy comes in.
Right.
We need to try to understand that everyone involved in this situation is going through something tough.
Yeah.
And we need to approach it with sensitivity and a willingness to listen to those other opinions.
Couldn't said it better myself.
And hey, while you're at it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes.
Yes.
Do all the things.
Because you never know, your other opinion might just change the world.
I love that. So before we wrap things up, let's take a step back for a second and ask ourselves, what can we learn from this whole Rajamouli controversy?
That is the question, isn't it?
How can we use this as a starting point for meaningful dialogue and real positive change?
Yeah. How do we move forward from this?
These are the questions we need to grapple with, not just as individuals, but as a society.
We can't just sweep these issues under the rug.
No.
We have to confront them head on with open minds and a commitment to understanding all sides of the story.
And that's what we try to do here at The Other Opinion.
Exactly.
And we invite you to join us on this journey.
Come along for the ride.
Now, before we go, just a quick reminder, folks, this podcast was curated by AI, so that means some of the info might be a little off.
Yeah. AI isn't perfect yet.
It's not so always do your own research and form your own opinions.
Don't just take our word for it.
And hey, don't be afraid to share those other opinions.
Yeah.
Because that's how we learn.
Yes.
That's how we grow. And that's how we make the world a more informed and understanding place.
Couldn't agree more.
So keep those brains buzzing. Keep those other opinions coming. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
We'll see you in the next deep dive.
Yeah, we can't just blindly believe everything we hear, right?
Exactly.
We have to think critically about it. Look at the facts.
Right. Or the lack of facts in this case.
Exactly. And Rao even admits that he doesn't have any proof of these past interactions.
That makes you wonder, what's his motivation then?
Yeah. Is he really just seeking justice like he says? Or could there be other factors at play?
Yeah, like what? What could be motivating him?
So societal pressure, maybe?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
I mean, the whole allure of celebrity culture.
Yeah, that can be pretty intense.
It can, and then you have to think about potential personal grievances that we might not even know about.
Right. There could be a whole backstory there.
It's a complicated situation.
It really is.
A lot of layers to unpack. Yeah, and that's where we need those other opinions.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We need to consider all sides of the story.
Absolutely every angle.
Every single one.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about here at The Other Opinion.
Exactly.
Don't just take our word for it. Go do your research.
Yeah.
Form your own opinions, and then come back here. Tell us what you think in the comments.
Hit that like button. Let those other opinions flow.
We want to hear from you guys.
We do. And, you know, this whole situation brings up another important point.
But what's that?
The hashtag #MeToo movement.
Oh, yeah.
And how it's playing out in India.
Yeah. It's a big conversation.
It is, and it's definitely been a catalyst for change.
For sure. It's empowering victims to come forward
Yeah.
and holding perpetrators accountable.
Absolutely.
Wow.
But it's also created this climate where accusations, even without hard evidence, can have a huge impact.
Yeah, you're right. It's a double-edged sword in a way.
It is. And this case with Rajamouli and his global fame,
Right.
it's a prime example of how complex this can all be.
It's a tightrope walk, isn't it?
It really is. On one hand, we want to believe victims.
Yeah.
And we want to create a safe space for them to speak out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to uphold due process.
And fairness for everyone involved.
Exactly. And that balance is not always easy to find.
It's not. This case is a perfect example of how tricky it can be.
Yeah, and it's not just about Rajamouli himself.
Right.
This whole thing puts a spotlight on the film industry as a whole.
Right.
I mean, it's an industry that's often shrouded in secrecy.
Yeah, and with those power dynamics.
Oh, yeah, those power dynamics can be really intense.
It makes you think, how will this affect aspiring filmmakers?
Yeah, will they be afraid to speak up?
And how will this change the way we see celebrities?
Those are all important questions.
They are, and they go way beyond just this one case.
They do. It's about a bigger cultural shift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to keep talking about it. Keep those comments coming. Tell us what you think.
Yes, share your other opinions.
Keep the conversation going.
And let's not forget, amidst all of this, that Rajamouli is a human being.
True.
Despite these allegations.
We can't lose sight of that.
It's important to remember the human element in all of this.
Absolutely. We're not just talking about abstract concepts.
No.
We're talking about people's lives, their careers, their reputations.
Yeah, and I think that's where empathy is so crucial.
Yeah.
We need to understand that everyone involved in this is going through something really difficult.
It's a tough situation for everyone.
It is, and we need to approach it with sensitivity and a willingness to listen to those other opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're listening, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes. Do all the things.
You never know. Your other opinion might just change the world.
You know, this whole thing has really got me thinking about how we deal with information these days.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when it comes to, like, someone like Rajamouli.
Right. A huge figure.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in the headlines and the drama.
The gossip.
But are we forgetting something important?
The human side of it all.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crucial.
These are real people we're talking about.
With real lives.
And their lives are being, like, dissected in the public eye.
It's intense.
Imagine the pressure, the scrutiny.
It must be overwhelming.
Totally. And it's not just Rajamouli himself.
Right.
Think about his family, his colleagues,
Yeah.
even his fans.
They're all affected by this in some way.
They are. And I think that's where empathy comes in.
Yeah.
It's so easy to jump to conclusions, to form these strong opinions based on just a few snippets of information.
Right. We see a headline and we think we know the whole story.
But we need to pause for a second and consider everyone's perspective.
Mm-hmm. Put ourselves in their shoes.
Exactly. What if this was happening to us?
How would we feel?
And I think this is also where the idea of other opinions becomes so important.
Absolutely.
It's about recognizing that there's more than one side to every story.
Always.
And being open to hearing and understanding those different viewpoints.
Even if we don't agree with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And hey, if you're finding this conversation insightful, hit that like button and share this with your friends.
Yes. Spread the word.
Let's encourage more people to think about these things.
And if you want to explore this topic even further,
Yeah.
come check out our channel, The Other Opinion.
We dive into all sorts of interesting issues.
Always aiming to foster understanding and challenge those conventional ways of thinking.
We love those other opinions.
You do. Oh, and one last thing.
Yeah.
Just a reminder that this podcast was put together by AI.
So you know AI isn't perfect yet?
It's not, so always do your own research and form your own opinions.
Yeah, don't just take our word for it.
Think for yourself.
So until next time, keep those brains buzzing, keep those other opinions coming, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.